Good evening, everyone. It is 6:38 p.m. on a glorious day. My last day as a 40-something-year-old. Yes, tomorrow's my birthday. The big one.
How old? 40.
Thanks for coming to my party, guys.
40.
With 10 years experience. So I'm going to start the meeting now officially. We have a quorum. We're waiting on June. He'll be joining us shortly. One of the items up up in our agenda is the minutes from the last meeting, December 21st. We have a copy here if anybody wants to read them. We're also going to post them. We've all read them. I make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Marlena, Rosalie?
Yes, I read.
Okay, all in favor. Thank you. We have an amendment to the 2018 budget and a vote on the reserves. And in the last meeting, as you recall, there were some questions and concerns about some of the line items and connecting the dots and making things spelled out a little clearer so everybody would understand that. So thanks to June's help, and I wish she was here, we, and Connie as well as the board, we took a closer look at it, and thanks to Jordana and FSR, we fixed everything that was a concern from before and are prepared to amend the budget. And we also have a copy of that here, in case anybody wants to see it. But it will be circulated, obviously, and
It was circulated.
I meant to everybody.
Yeah, it was circulated.
Okay. As a digital
Your
copy.
email.
Okay. So it was already circulated, as you saw it already. So there's no changes to that. Man of the hour. How are you? Hey, just grab a seat.
Jen, say right here.
So there was a slight change in the budget. Nothing drastic at all, but we wanted to make sure that we had the right line items to address some of the questions that people had about. For example, we had all the staff put together, right? So there's a breakdown there. We're just talking about the budget now.
The bottom line here is we had the previous budget slightly less than last year, a few dollars less than last year for the maintenance payments. And this year is going to be a few dollars over, a very insignificant amount.
Did June went, in the last meeting, June said he was gonna forensic go through it. Did you do that?
Yes. That's how we got to the new numbers. The other,
So it's almost the same.
the major change that we made is that we included an item to repair the heater for the jacuzzi. At that point, we didn't have a clear picture of what we could do about that. We have been looking into different options, but nothing was satisfactory. And we came down with the decision, I think, that we just have to fix it the way it is. We were looking at some other ways of getting around the problem, but it seems like they're not really that different and they don't save that much money. For example, an electric heater instead of the gas heater. So we're not gonna save a lot by doing that. So we had to add that, and that's very expensive. So that changed the budget a little bit, but we also reduced other items. And June adjusted the budget accordingly.
I did look at the budget for 2018, and depending on, I mean, based upon the previous numbers, the major difference is we had to add 2 repair items. One is, as mentioned, the gas line repair, that's $8,500. The other item, one more item, is the pavement repair expense. That's, I believe, $2,800. Repair right in front of the main entrance. And I understand a repair is needed at the northeast corner of the property caused by Hurricane Irma.
By the gate.
So those 2 had to be added. And I reduced discretionaries. So I tried as much as possible to offset the increase but overall, we came up total expense amount of $832,900.
All right. And we'll have an open forum at the end as well, guys, if you have any questions, but just want to kind of get through the agenda here. We also did not have a quorum for the voting of the reserves in the last meeting, which finally we do. And we do have a count. These are the originals?
Correct.
Okay. What is the count?
It's over 65, which is what's necessary. It's 72.
So to have a quorum, we need 2/3 of ownership to vote one way or the other in favor of the reserves or not. And so we have at least 2/3 of the ownership vote in.
Yes.
And by the way, we also welcome Dania Fernandez, our building attorney, as well. We can also take a second look at this, and this will be available here if anybody wants to take a look at it as well. I believe that we've voted to decline the reserves?
Correct.
The funding of the reserves?
Yes.
Okay, and that's been confirmed. So we are not funding reserves, so there will be a slight increase in the maintenance, but nothing exorbitant to cover reserves. So, do we make a motion to approve the amendment?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna make a motion then to approve the amendment, as we just adjusted the budget, and also a motion to accept the votes that we have to waive the reserves for 2018 budget. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, any? Okay. So
All in
it's
favor.
unanimous, okay, thank you. Next item here is the fining committee recommendations.
That will have to be postponed
It's gonna be postponed.
because the finance committee has not met yet.
Okay. So we're skipping the fining committee, guys. There is a tree trimming and landscaping item on the agenda as well. And we actually got budget approved, sorry.
We can't hear you back here.
All right. There are some open
Sorry,
seats
you guys can
here.
come closer.
You're in the cheap seats. I'm gonna whisper so you can come closer.
Wheels that back.
So, what is this?
That's for irrigation repairs. I don't know if he's gonna talk about it, but so you have it.
Is this in the budget?
We budgeted $10,000 for everything. Irrigation repairs and landscaping on West Avenue.
Okay. So we're still getting proposals?
And using this company for irrigation repairs. And they repaired everything. Cindy's not here. This was just in case.
Thank you, sir.
she was repaired.
Okay.
Thank you. This is the audit.
So, in terms of tree trimming and landscaping, I know there's a lot of work to be done on this property. We've done a lot already. Always looking for volunteers, by the way, to help with that. I know Hina's,
Volunteers, guys,
yeah.
please. The only one on the landscape committee is me.
Yeah, we need at least two to create it.
She's got 3
I can
green
make
thumbs.
decisions. I can make them suggestions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is anyone else interested
wanna
in
tell-
joining the landscaping committee?
I want to tell a little story about that.
Manny could join the meeting.
Manny's got a green
Hi,
thumb, right?
Manny.
Say yes.
Just say yes. Right.
2009 to 2010, Hina. 2009 to 2010. Mark and I were on the board. And I think Manny was on the board too. There was another person called Ken Nafis. And he was a devotee and an amateur landscaper. And he did a lot of work. He took care of everything that was out there as far as landscaping. And the landscaping in this building was, I think, the best on the beach. And if we had someone like that, it would be really tremendous.
Do we know anyone in the building that's really interested and knowledgeable more?
I don't know. Manny, are you?
I'm not, I can help you, but I'm not too, good at landscaping, you know,
Right,
but I can
right.
help you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
once in a while, when the landscaping company comes to do their work, it's good to
Yeah.
meet with them as well, so. We were able to save some money on the tree trimming as well, and we are getting multiple bids for the different kind of landscaping projects that we have, but we've budgeted $10,000 for that. And so far, we have at least one bid here that's well under. But we can easily go through that money depending on what people's ideas are for landscaping, right? And some people may want to see more lush, some people may want to see less, and more kind of design with a rock garden or something a little less natural. I don't know, but we've been getting different kind of feedback, and we're open to that feedback, and maybe we'll even do a survey monkey,
Survey.
you know,
Yeah, you may
to
have
get
seen
that input, you know.
We sent out a survey, and we want to make that a policy of using the surveys to have kind of participatory democracy, so that we can take into account the specific objective opinions of people, because until now, we have been sitting here, we speculate really what do people prefer. And a lot of times it's, the decisions are made on the basis of what the few of us prefer, what the few of us like. And that may not be suitable in all cases, but in some cases, I think it's suitable. So we will be asking your opinion and the opinions of all the owners through these surveys in the future. And the landscaping committee could use that. So if you're willing to work on it, what you would need to do is to become knowledgeable about landscaping issues. We rely for the most part on the landscaping company, but we have had, I think now 3 landscaping companies, right, Jordan?
Correct.
So far.
Yes.
They're more
They
like
don't
trimmers,
work out.
though. The guys that we have trim, you know, they don't make suggestions and tell us what we can do, not really.
Yes, and sometimes they don't do it very well either.
Yeah.
They don't seem detail-oriented, they don't seem to have any love of the job that they're
design or
doing.
How much
So-
irrigation we need, or, you know, things like that. Our irrigation system is not in the whole building, and we need it in the whole building. That's why our landscaping isn't luscious at the moment.
It could be, so,
Question, why are we doing, this feels, why aren't we relying on the management company to tell us what's in the best interest of the
we
complex?
are, but this is a
So-
supplement
All right.
to the management company, so that we take the input from the committee members, so that we give an opportunity to the owners to participate in this decision-making process, and in deciding and looking into and researching, so that,
Well, would you share the suggestions that the management company is making as far as the landscaping, and then we'll have a place to sort of start with what they're suggesting?
Sure.
And then we can maybe.
yeah, it's a
fine-tune that?
two-way street. You would work with the management company and the landscapers, both. And together you come up with a plan, you come up with suggestions. You may want to say, have more azaleas and dodecahedrons, which are the types of plants that flower, and therefore they attract butterflies. So maybe we can have butterflies flying around here. Some people may like that. I don't think maybe June likes it. But some people may like that. We may want to put that in a survey as well. Do you like butterfly? Would you like to have, would you like to attract butterfly, birds?
Good,
Yeah.
then we could, those sorts of shrubs and plants can flourish. If our irrigation isn't good enough, then those things just die.
Right, and we are addressing the issue of irrigation. As you may have seen, we had the irrigation company come and repair most of the irrigation system. There's one line that remains to be fixed back here, right?
Which is right outside of her patio. We need to connect the line right
that's why
outside of
it's so
Hina's
dry.
patio, all throughout the island, facing where the guest parking is. That's the only one, because all 3 timers have been set to 3 AM every other day for 10 minutes. So irrigation is fine all throughout the property, except for that line
Except
right
for the
there.
Northeast.
Yeah,
Okay.
just for that. Okay, and we have received 1 quote so far, so, we'll receive 1 or 2 more, and then we'll go from
Louis
there.
still in the picture, the landscape, wasn't it Louis?
Yeah, he does the trimming, the service,
No,
every
the one
other
that
week.
was doing us he was a proposal for the landscaping, what's his name?
Louis from
Yeah, he's still.
Done Right Landscaping, yes, he's our landscaping company, but we hired a different company that specializes in only irrigation and design.
No, I'm talking about the landscape. Are we still working with him?
Done Right Landscaping, yeah, he does our service every other week.
I'm talking about the planting at the rotunda.
Same
So he's
company,
still on,
same company,
he's still in the pitch.
same company,
You got a good
Yeah.
proposal.
yeah, he beats
Yeah,
many other
Regarding-
prices, so.
Regarding the landscaping, you have to also consider that this is not the right time to be planting anything.
Once we finish with asphalt also.
And also
and
the
it's
asphalt.
Season. Mhm.
First of all, the climate is not the proper climate right now, but also the asphalt. The asphalt project needs to be completed before we can go on and do the landscaping on the inside. Now, that doesn't mean that we cannot do on West Avenue. We have been considering that and thinking about that and trying to raise the funds to have that. So that should be the next step. For now, what we have done is we have cleaned out the area of debris and pebbles and rocks, which is the
From West
recommendation
Avenue.
on West Avenue,
Mhm.
which is one of the recommendations that you guys in the committee made
Yes,
the last time that you met, remember?
yes.
When Kaplowitz was in the committee too. That's what you recommended, so we did that. But more needs to be done over there. And I think part of the irrigation is key to that. So we need to make sure that the irrigation is working well.
The
over there.
irrigation is
It has
working
been
well on
checked,
West Avenue.
But it has been
Mhm.
checked, it's
Mhm.
working, so now we can do it.
We needed to work on the barbecue area, and we need to level out that land as well. We've got spots of land within the property that are not level, so irrigation can't work properly if it's not level.
And this quote that we received, it includes a barbecue area to water both hedges, the ones in the barbecue area and right in the northeast corner, so
And
it's
what
great.
about leveling out the land?
Adding more soil.
Yeah, the soil, because the.
And it's, yeah,
Yeah.
You've seen it.
and we're looking at options for the barbecue area as well, whether we're gonna install artificial turf or grass, we're looking at options as well, so,
I think we should
Along
address
with
that
the-
right now.
along with the committee meeting.
We should address that right now. We
The
have looked
barbecue
into it,
area?
we have done some research, you have the figures, we have addressed that, and we can make a decision.
We can, the
So
only,
the
the only
barbecue
quote we have not received is regular, just grass, real grass.
I thought you had that already. It was
No, we have
2,000.
artificial turf, and we have pavers, and we have concrete, all
Okay.
except for grass, but
So,
it's not costly.
can you pull out the sheet with the information about that?
By the way, guys, so what I always do, and it probably annoys Jordana, but I look online for pictures of things or drive by properties, and when I think of it, and take pictures. So I'm always like bombarding her with pictures. Why can't we do this? Can we find out how much this costs, you know? And it's work, you know, but at least you have some ideas, some direction, and get the creative juices flowing. So feel free to send Jordana your pictures.
Yeah, I
Okay.
noticed that the West Avenue, the plants are going back. Most of them, they're going back to, they look alive. But there's a lot of dead branches.
Yeah, so that's something I wanted to
So we need to
mention.
clean up at least.
Yeah,
that
that's something I
because-
wanted to mention. The board has approved to, go ahead and trim all the palm trees and the fishtails, the dead
Okay,
leaves, the
okay,
dead,
okay, so it's gonna look
And
nice.
we're doing that starting tomorrow. It's gonna take 2 to 3 days to complete,
Good.
and we're doing that all throughout the property. Because a lot of the palm
Well,
trees
this is
and the
gonna help
fishtails
out.
were affected by the hurricane, and a lot of them need to be trimmed. So, that's what will be done.
Will somebody be making sure they don't trim plants down?
I'll be out
Don't
there
need
with
to-
them.
Will you be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
supervising them?
And,
You
Dead
know?
branches, you know, dead branches, they're dead, you know.
No machetes, please.
I was supervising them today.
I saw
Okay.
you.
I
I
can't
saw
do it
you.
every
They did
day.
a good job with the hedges, I know.
Yeah. But
I'm
they're
sorry
still
about
not,
that.
they're not doing it because it's not part of their remit. You know, so he charges us more every time we do something extra besides trimming. Even if it's just taking care of hedges.
No, but we don't get charged for the hedges. For the ropes that they can tie?
No, meaning I asked them to level out the ground underneath, so we haven't got so much of the foliage, that's sitting there because it hinders the water intake. They're just not being watered properly because they're so high. They're like mounds,
Yes, and
which means the water just doesn't soak through into the root
for
balls.
now, we're watering
why
them
they're going
ourselves
brown.
until we
Right.
install irrigation there.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
we
To
need
water the
level out
hedges.
that ground as well.
Okay, yeah, I don't think they charge us for that, though.
Yeah, well, they
We
they
need to
would-
ask them.
Yeah, they
if-
wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. they
Whatever
wouldn't do it.
additional they would charge, I know every other landscaping would charge additional as well. Unfortunately, that's how they work. if it's not within the regular maintenance every other week.
We should have a landscaping party, actually. Everybody just bring a bag of soil.
Everyone gets it done.
Well, let me tell you what we have thus far. We have a quote for monster grass
Monster grass, yeah.
for $2,500.
What
For
is
the
monster
barbecue.
grass?
That's
Monster grass.
artificial turf,
Oh,
Artificial.
artificial, just for the barbecue.
just for the
area.
barbecue
Yes.
section. Mhm.
We have something called, we have another proposal for slabs, concrete slabs,
Mhm.
which Mark had suggested, with artificial grass.
In
growing
between.
In between.
Yeah, nice.
Like a design, yeah,
Yeah,
like a
nice.
driveway kind
They
of.
do that
That
in
costs
California a lot.
13,300.
There you go.
With the same company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we need the quote for regular grass.
Regular grass will be under $1,000. I confirmed it
But that's.
verbally, not
that's
in
as
writing.
hardy.
Sorry?
That's not
Yeah.
as hardy, you have to take care of regular.
Yeah, we have to
grass.
replace everything.
So it seems like a no-brainer to me, but maybe we should do
Artificial.
a survey monkey on it.
Survey monkey.
We can put those
We
shingles
can.
down, that's really
Good.
cheap.
So,
And then-
IKEA has these teak tiles that you can connect and put together, and it looks really
Like a
good,
deck.
and it's very cheap, like a deck. Yeah.
That,
Right.
the ground has gotta be really level for that
Yeah.
stuff though.
Yeah.
So,
Once we
You
level
have
the
it
ground,
on your
I mean,
balcony, right?
before anything we do,
You
you
gotta
know,
level it anyway.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'd be happy to install it myself.
And then we have proposals for number one, to fill the rotunda with plants, the same plants that we have now, and on the 3 sections along the garage for $900. And we have another proposal to install the plants and a hedge along West Avenue, and that's almost 10,000. And that's what you were talking about before.
No, West Avenue, the one for $10,000 was to install, Manny was involved in it,
Yeah.
right? For whatever it was that was discussed, with Done Right Landscaping.
Yeah, but we need
If we're
to,
just gonna install a
reshape
hedge,
again,
it
go
will
back
be
again
less.
and, because there's some plant that, they look, at that time they looked dead, now they're back alive, so maybe we can go back and see, with Louis.
See what other
see
options we may
what
have.
The option,
Right.
see if we can save some money there.
I think if we just install a
So
hedge.
can we
there.
count on the two of you to be
No,
on?
I keep working with Louis, you know, I never give up, you know, resign to it.
No,
you know.
so the landscaping committee will be you and Hina. Any
Yeah,
other
it was all-
volunteers?
It was all, yeah, Louis, I never resigned.
Oh, you
Any
know
other
that?
volunteers?
Okay.
We're not here. We're not here again.
Okay.
All right. All right, so, item number 7 is the fencing in 109 and behind jacuzzi area. So, one of the pledges, one of the promises, one of the concerns that we all shared here on the board, and as many other owners shared when we were running for the board, was security. And we, you know, all along thought we need to improve that. And there's a number of different ways. There was plenty of suggestions, lots of input. We even had Miami Beach Police Department come and walk the property with us. And we've started to make those changes, right? So we've gotten additional cameras and lighting.
And
We-
the signs?
and the signs, as you'll see
Installed.
today, were installed. Even the button in the back there is an improvement to get out of the property. And so we actually increased the gate size in the back here, the fencing, excuse me, along the back. So that was an area of potential breach where somebody can kind of jump into the property through the back. So that's been increased, and you know, little by little, we are making these changes. And we've also budgeted, I think, for a camera that reads the
Mhm.
license plates, a special kind of camera that can read the plates that come, the tags, plates, on the cars that come in and out of the property. So,
I would like to add the importance of the signs, because this building didn't have the signs that said,
No trespassing.
No
no
trespassing?
trespassing, Miami Beach Police, like you see in McDonald's in the parking lots. They were not allowed to come in and be checking our areas. And after they came and suggested that, simultaneously, Mark had already worked on that. I spoke to the people across the street from the storage place, that they always have problems with homeless getting into their plans or their property, and they said that after they put the signs, because homeless don't wanna be ID, it eliminated it completely. So just putting those signs seems like something that we all assume, you know, we're here since 1995, should have been done. But it's an amazing step ahead in terms of security, because it's already proven that it deters homeless. It's the only thing that will give the authorization to the police to come, and they also said that they will put us as part of the rotation. So on a regular basis, they will be coming around our property, which before they never did.
That's great.
So that's thank you to Morgan Jordana. That's a big one.
That's great.
I have photos here on my phone if anyone would like to see the new fence behind the jacuzzi area.
Oh, we also installed that sundial fencing too, along
We installed two of the, yes, of the fan
It's
fences.
fan fences.
One of the fan fences as well. That was installed 2 weeks ago. So it was much lower here along the patio, one of the patio. Jacuzzi is over here. This is like the little garden behind the jacuzzi where the jacuzzi equipment is.
There's also some of the.
Then here's the bridge.
Some of the volleyball, like the court has been cleaned out, it has, it's open now, so.
Yes, I went back with them now and I had them do it because it was, and there was a few dead ones.
That was
So we, raised it, it was much lower, and then we raised it to level it out. Sorry. We installed it today.
Okay, well, moving along here. The next item is the lack of homeowners insurance and water intrusion. So obviously we see National Restoration or whatever the
National Water Restoration.
water restoration
Mhm.
company here more often for water leaks and floods that obviously accidents and unexpected. But for a small premium, unit owners should have, and it's highly recommended, that they have their own insurance policy. The association obviously is made up by all of us, so in the end, we all pay one way or the other. So if we are insured individually, you know, and there's a claim that needs to be made, obviously, that doesn't affect the rest of the association. Obviously, the association is responsible for the sheetrock and baseboards and things that are common areas, but within your unit, or even if your neighbor, you know, should want to sue you because of the damage caused to their unit, you know, that is the reason typically people get insurance, right, for protection, for those kind of instances. And we found that there's a number of people in the building that either don't have insurance or haven't provided us with proof of insurance. And so I think it's perfect timing that we also have our attorney here, because this is one of the concerns that we've raised as a board, how to move forward, how to implement this so that it becomes mandatory, so that people are obligatory, that they actually follow through with this. And I guess we can ask her.
Right, so definitely in your declaration, it is a requirement that homeowners have the policy, which is an HO6 policy, and it is very inexpensive. In other communities that I've had, we've sent out like a general notice, and the agent of the community itself could provide information and even can provide rates. Not that the owner has to use the insurance agent, but it's just a suggestion so that if they want to gather information or ask questions, then usually the agent, being an agent of the community, they're usually cooperative and they offer guidance and help. Because I think the majority of people just think that maybe it's too expensive, or they don't even know or in this community, they don't know it's a requirement or if it even exists. Usually the idea is that the association insurance covers everything, but that's not the case. So it's informing them and educating the owners that don't know it. Now, as far as the association having it in the declaration as a requirement, by not having it and by not enforcing it before, the first step the board needs to do is actually put that on an agenda, on an item on the agenda that moving forward it is gonna be enforced. So that's the first thing,
We have done
good, oh, okay,
We have
good.
done
So now enforcing it. So the first thing is sending out violations, you know, and having a fining committee, start the fining process. And the fining process starts off by first sending the violation notice, and in that violation notice, there has to be the right to be heard. So there's a 14-day notice to be heard in front of the fining committee. The fining committee hears the individual's defense, if there is any, or if even that person shows up. And then the fining begins $100 a day until $1,000. And unfortunately, I mean, I guess fortunately for the owner, but unfortunately for the association, it's only $1,000 and can be fined. The next step would be going to a small claims action, because that's the only alternative. Fine cannot be collected nor liened just as an association due that's delinquent. So the only alternative you have to be able to collect and enforce this fine to be paid, which is ultimately to get them to do the right thing and get the insurance, would be a small claims action. In this small claims action, it's pretty much asking the judge, hey, force them to get the policy, or, you know, they have to pay the fine. And then also they can ask for attorney's fees, and it'll be dependent on the judge if the judge will award the attorney's fees or not. Aside from that, there's no other way except another action to force them to abide by the declaration would be another legal action aside from just the collection of the violation fine. You have a question? Yes.
I have several.
Okay.
Are you near the end of your presentation?
Yeah, you can ask questions as
Well, I have a
everyone.
series of stupid, okay, I'm being advised by my other attorney to let you finish. So I will let you finish, but then I
Okay.
have a bunch of stupid questions.
Okay, no problem. So, in a nutshell, the fining process, in order to force these individuals to pay the fine, which ultimately you'll end up having them get that insurance policy, is to do the process correctly. And I know that you have a fining committee, I know that you give the violation notices, and it has that 14-day language. So it's just taking the steps forward to aggressively try to get these the individuals to get the proper insurance. So,
Now,
yes.
Sorry, indulge me, I have a couple of really stupid questions to ask, okay? Without using legal language,
Mhm.
does whatever regulations we're required to abide by,
Mhm.
do those in the condo association documents, are we required to have insurance?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a yes or no question. Yes, we are all required to have insurance.
Yes.
Do we know how many, is it by unit? How many units do not have the insurance?
Yes, we do.
How many?
I think it's about 60% that have not presented evidence.
I'm sorry?
60% don't have
About
it?
60%
Haven't
of the
presented
units
evidence.
have not presented evidence that they have insurance.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Has it been
What-
requested? Wait,
I've got the floor. I'm asking the stupid questions right now. Other than sending out the notices that we've all received,
Mhm.
has anybody picked up a phone and talked to anybody about this?
No,
Okay.
we have not contacted individual owners.
I'm sorry?
We have not contacted individual owners via phone, only email.
Okay, you won't even sending out those blast emails, because I've seen those as well.
Mhm.
Okay. So, we are a community of residents here. I mean, we may not buddy with everybody, we're still a community of residents. Oh, one other stupid question. What is this notion of a fining committee? Are we required to have a fining committee?
Yes, so you can, an
No, it's
association.
fining, F-I-N-I-N-G.
Fining
Fining
committee.
Fining committee.
Yeah, and they're either addressed as fining committee or grievance committee.
So that's
So-
required by law, or because we have in our condo
Well,
association document?
no, let me explain. In order to issue any kind of monetary fine, there has to be a fining committee. So the process involves where the board of directors tells its agent, management in this case, tells them, okay, go ahead and issue violations to all people that don't have the required insurance as per the declaration.
Okay.
Now, in that violation, it could be an empty threat where it's only a violation without issuing a fine. Because the only way you can issue a fine, a monetary value to that fine, $100 a day, until they get that insurance up to $1,000, is if they have their right to be heard in front of an impartial fining/grievance committee. And that committee cannot be made up of any board members, because then it would not be impartial,
Gotcha.
okay? So, there doesn't need to be a fining committee, but then you're not gonna be able to issue the monetary fine,
Gotcha.
okay?
Okay.
So are you advising
I
that?
wasn't.
Oh, I thought
No,
you were done.
I'm not, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
I will yield the floor. But just for one question, according to the.
So it would seem to me if we have 60% of unit owners that haven't responded to the letter,
Have not supplied evidence.
evidence
Okay.
in response to a letter that went out requesting it. and I didn't even see the letter, but I imagine the
It's
letter.
not a letter, it's a notice.
A notice,
Yeah.
right. So I imagine that, it sounds as if it's a cumbersome process, but it sounds, to me, it would not be, you would be the lawyer representing the community,
Yes.
correct? Doesn't sound that cumbersome if you schedule all of the, you send out a letter to the 60%, you explain what the consequence is, you explain the statute that applies, you explain the maximum fine, you get them in touch with the agent that can tell them that it will cost them less than $1,000 to have the new insurance put on,
Yes.
which it will. And you have the fining all on the same night for all 60%.
Yeah.
And you have the court hearing following that, non-compliance, all on the same day.
Well, that part you can't do, that
Why
depends,
not?
depends on the judge.
No, but I'm
You're
just saying,
just
you
speaking about the filing
file the
committee.
complaints for each of the non-complying tenants, owners, and so that it will be heard all at the same time, it will.
With just the fining committee, because I think Amadi, what he's thinking is going and taking into a court action.
Right, I'm saying that after the fining committee meets, it sets a standard fine, and then there's lack of, those who do not comply at that point, you then issue a complaint, but you file the complaints all on the same day, so that it's minimizes.
Well, the
I'm sorry,
process-
can
yeah.
I ask a question to clarify? This notice was only sent via email, correct?
It has been
And
sent,
posted,
yeah.
and he applies it, he includes that, and Maureen includes it in the.
Okay, so I think that
We have given
we
the
can do,
notice.
we can do a better job at
But
letting
we have given
owners
the
know.
notice at least 5 or 6 times.
Yeah,
a
but
day.
via email, and
Via
I'll
email
tell you.
and posted, and mailings.
And on the reports monthly.
No, but
On the
through the
reports.
mail, no?
No, not through the mail.
No, we haven't done it.
Okay, I'm just gonna make a general recommendation, okay? That we know the 60% who do not, okay? I think we need to spell out for all of them what these consequences are. I don't think that's been done.
We have done that.
I hear what you're saying.
We have done
and-
it
and-
I haven't seen it, perhaps it's been done, since I've been an owner, I haven't seen it,
Right.
and that's
We have,
been
we
2.5
have sent it to
years.
you.
It's even posted in the
Thank you.
mailroom, and
I
it includes.
understand, but people have not done it for whatever reason, I'm sorry.
They haven't been able to connect the dots,
Right.
which is exactly what happened with the.
Or find the
Hold on,
remedy,
hold on.
or find the remedy by having a contract.
What do you mean by
that can
connect the
help
dots,
you
the
get it.
consequences associated with it?
Everything from providing proof of insurance to, not having it and what are the consequences,
Okay.
right?
All right.
So, I mean, you should be probably spelled out a little bit differently and maybe even a phone call. I would suggest that if they live in a building, that they have to sign for like a WIT of package and that they absolutely get notice of that. Maybe, return mail, registered mail, there are ways about this, right? But I think the simplest, easiest way that we've done this so far has been the most cost effective as well, via email. So, taking it up a notch, I don't disagree entirely. I think that, you do have to reach 60% of the people one way or another. So we are open to suggestions.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not sure that's sending it out by email, I'm okay with that, however, I think, picking up on what you said, I would spell out exactly, as you say, connect the dots.
Right.
List the
Yeah.
issues here, as we've been discussing here.
Sir, it has been
This is
done.
very simple,
It has been done.
it's cost effective, if you don't do it, this is what we are going to be required to do. And I would cite, is this Florida law?
Yes, Florida
Okay,
statute.
and I would cite, I would cite Florida law, that we're not doing this because we're being jerks, we're doing it because we're required to by Florida law. So please, do what you have to do.
Sir, this has been done many times.
So
And we
if-
put it-
Hasn't
in
worked.
the mail
Let me
room.
finish.
Yeah.
I'm all right, I'm not arguing with you.
But
Yeah.
no, but let me.
I
let me
agree with you, I
explain.
can appreciate your.
We have done
Excuse me,
it at
excuse me,
least
please,
5 times. We
excuse
put it
me.
in boldface and then we put it in yellow.
Agreed.
Highlighted, yellow
agree.
highlight and boldface.
I appreciate your frustration.
And also, this board is enforcing all new lease to have, homeowners insurance. Before, we didn't have that, so every time there's a new lease, they have to prove the owner's, insurance, so that's an
Right.
improvement that this board did. Also, and that's another question, what is the minimum policy, because we saw one for what, $5,000? One of the owners?
Yeah, the HO policy is what's required,
It's the it's called the
And-
HO6 policy.
And there's so
It's a
many
minimum
But
more.
it depends what coverage the owner needs. It's not like there's a common coverage, and neither does the declaration give, okay, there has to be a minimum coverage of.
Exactly.
So it just, I guess it depends the contents of the inside of your unit and what it would cover. And that goes again with the insurance agent. That's not something that's laid out in your declaration nor the law.
What is
Because
the
everybody's gonna
highest
have a
figure?
different coverage.
Like $10,000?
I don't,
I
I
guess we would
couldn't
speak to
tell you.
Brad about it. I
Yeah.
did speak to our insurance agent
Yes.
on Friday, and he recommended maybe having an event, but he was gonna call me this week, and then we were gonna coordinate with the board about having an event to educate the residents as far as, you know, policies, how much it would cost, et cetera, and they would sponsor the event as well, so that's something that we are coordinating.
If I may say something, it sounds from what Amara is saying is that, it's not, it may not be a question of lack of information completely, it may be a question of deliberate non-compliance.
Exactly.
In that case, I think you really need to send out a notice to those people who have not responded that there will be a meeting on this date, and at that time, you will need to appear, and the fining committee will then will take your case under advisement and issue fines of, and these are the nature of the fines, $100 a day, up to a maximum of $1,000. When that happens, and then you still have no one answering, then you turn it over to our attorney, and she schedules it for court.
And that is the next step, because you've given the notice, you've given the explanation.
I'm sorry, I have
Now
to
you-
interrupt.
okay.
I think that we haven't done a good job in helping owners submit the copies. I'm one of them. I have come down, and every time I come down, it's too late to bring the copies and make the photocopies. So I think that as a community, the same way we do parties and we're doing the dog thing, we should do and the emails, believe it or not, many people don't read them. It's too many, So when you read the email, you say, I have insurance, but then you get the paper, but you never submit the copy, because the insurance copy of the paper is this fat, so I don't have a photocopy. So maybe I think that we should inform everybody and post it, and I volunteer to be one of them, that will be here helping people make photocopies and update their files.
But you call.
If you don't come and do it by this date, then we will start fining. But let's give it another chance, because I truly believe that a lot of people have it, and they just,
All they have to do is call
Okay,
their
I'm not sure exactly
broker.
what you're proposing. You're proposing
Get a
that we give them
certificate
what?
of insurance, and it gets sent right away.
There
My
have
broker
been some
sent it to
unit
you.
owners that have said, I will get it. Many even knows I had to chase a unit owner for
And
3
then they
weeks
send
prior
you-
to the tenant moving in, and he refused to get it. So there are unit owners that refuse to get insurance because they
Well,
don't
but
think
then
it's
if-
necessary, nor do they care
but
to
those
get
are
it.
the rentals.
Yeah.
No, the unit owners.
Right, but
have
if
the unit
somebody's
owners.
renting,
They should
the
have renter's
person cannot
insurance.
move in until they have the
Yeah,
insurance.
it's just an example, some unit owners
Right, should
are
they
aware
have
of it, they
renter's
just refuse to
insurance?
get it.
Right.
Well, then they don't move in.
Right, you deny the.
You deny
Of
the
course, but
moving.
I'm just saying that it's an example that some are aware of it, they just
Yeah.
refuse to get it, whether they're renting their unit or not.
Agree.
You're playing the game.
Yeah.
But do you think
Yeah.
that's the majority of the 60%
Yes.
that refuse to get it?
No, I don't think a majority.
Who knows?
I
There's
mean,
no way to know.
Most will say, I have it.
Most people don't like it.
Yeah, that's.
And they're aware of
that's
that,
the
and it's
difference.
posted everywhere, even
Yeah.
posted in the laundry room.
So we should have an insurance coverage party.
Remember?
Can we
I
just not
suppose
send them
Yeah.
a letter by mail? That looks more official.
That's what, yeah.
People read their letters.
Yes.
They just don't read emails.
Okay.
I think we should send a letter.
And we'll have
Alright.
that event, we'll have the insurance event as well.
So let me make
Two birds with one
I'd like to
stone.
make a proposal here, then, that we do a final warning in writing as a letter on our letterhead.
Certified?
No.
Certified mail.
I don't think we need to serve.
And we can do an insurance event where
Because
people
Maria.
can come and sign up for
Maria-
insurance.
And we
By the
can
way, when
even-
they're certified, they go to the front desk, and the front desk needs to sign off on it anyway, and it's better just letter.
What's that?
Can you address it by
Regular
name,
mail.
not as a
Regular
mail?
mail.
If it's certified
Oh,
mail,
individually.
they will
Yeah.
hand it to the front desk
Individually.
to sign it.
I think,
Hold on a second. She's saying.
You wanna do it that way? For those unit owners that live here, hand it to the front desk and have them do it like a package, log it in?
Yeah, that's another way we do it. We just need to have some evidence that they received it. Otherwise, you can say, I never read the email, I don't read my letters either.
And then certified letters
That's true.
to those who do not live
It
here.
looks like junk to me, so I don't read junk.
Do we need certified
It's coming from West Bay, but.
If it's a
Right.
certified letter, they're not around to sign for it, you get a notice in the mailbox, who's gonna go to the post office to get it?
Well, I would like to jump in there a minute before,
Unless I'm looking-
as far as mailing goes, as far as proof of mailing goes, if it's sent certified, and a lot of people, because I deal with a lot of collections, they don't sign them, they just don't accept them. But the law just requires proof of mailing, so that you put it together, and what I usually do is if you send it certified, send it also regular mail. And then just copy the envelope and show, because that's the proof that I've had to show in front of a judge, and that's fine. You know, but you show that you tried to do the certified and you did regular mail as well. If they refuse to get the certified, it went regular mail.
Just a
There's
regular
no
mail.
need to do certified.
Yeah, regular mail
If
should be
it's not
sufficient.
statutorily
That's-
required, there's absolutely no reason to do certified.
No, no, wait a minute. I think we're not understanding what she's saying. She's saying to do it both ways.
No, she's saying if you feel you need to do certified, you should
Well,
always.
I send everything certified, because it's definitely, it's more evidence to show that someone signed for it.
But
They
they
got
don't,
it,
but you also
but
said that they
yes.
don't sign
You
it.
always send a regular
Right,
mail.
so
It
for
doesn't
the
matter.
people that don't, I have it there, and you're right. Either way, the judge is gonna accept that I did it both ways. But definitely I have a better case showing that, hey, you did get it, here's your signature.
You don't need the certified mail though to tell them that they're not paying, maybe for the fining committee, but you don't even need it.
All right, so
I mean, people
I'd
never
like to
go
make a
through the
suggestion,
certified mail.
okay? Yeah,
Can you send a soft copy?
absolutely.
What
But we've done that,
What's a soft copy?
yeah.
What
So we've
copy?
done that email,
So we're talking about hard copies, but I'm
Yeah.
asking, can you send a soft copy?
absolutely.
Like emails?
So,
Yeah, we have sent many. We've sent
We'll
many.
send a final warning via email and mail. Go ahead, Mark.
Email is not
So then you
official
end
notice.
it to sort of-
She's not talking about
So
email.
because she
No, no,
brought
no,
it
both.
up.
all right, just to put
Email
this,
and-
just to put this to rest, guys, okay, I'd like to propose that final notice goes out via email, personalized if we have to, regular mail, personalized, and certified, okay, especially to those who don't live on site. For those who live on site, they can sign for it as a
Log-
package,
log them as a
okay?
package.
So there's 3 ways that they're gonna get this, and we're gonna have proof, okay? And we're gonna identify the date that they need to respond by, or the date that they will be in front of a fining committee, okay? And therefore, they have urgency tied into this response that they need to get back to us by. And we'll even have a insurance agent gathering here to help them walk through whatever they need to for coverage and access to our copy machine if we need to have copies made. But all this is in a specific timeline that's spelled out and connecting the dots if they don't adhere to it.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Okay? Done. So we, on the next item, talked already kind of
Well,
about the,
let me, I want to address that issue still a little bit more. And
The other one.
I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Okay.
Because I
I
have
get
sent
that a lot.
you, I've sent you emails, requesting your opinion as to what do we do beyond this stage.
Okay.
Now, we have gone through the fining committee, the fine has been imposed, and the owners don't pay the fine.
Okay.
We don't have a lien on them, so we're gonna foreclose on the property. So in a way, it's an empty threat. So how do we collect? We have to go to court,
Right.
we have to invest money on that.
Yes.
Every case costs money,
Yes.
and every case could cost more than $1,000
Yes.
just to go to court and file the pleadings and appear and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily a good investment unless we can be guaranteed that we will get back not only what we have invested, but also the fine and the attorney's fees and costs from the court.
Correct.
I understand that there used to be, or maybe there is, and this is the question that I asked, a statute that said that Florida condominiums could buy the insurance for the owners and charge them for it. And if they didn't pay that insurance fee, then there would be a lien on the property.
Yeah, just like the banks do with the mortgage.
I read this in a blog from Becker and Poliakoff, and I asked you, is this still in effect? Is this correct? And you never
Definitely,
answered. Okay, but hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Then, we had another conversation with another attorney for something else. And we asked him that question. And he said, oh, that statute has been abolished. but I see that statute still in the statute books. So what is the situation with that?
So here's the way, first of all, there's two parts to it, and the first one is, let's talk about first the forced placed insurance, okay? Because when you look at forced placed insurance, when I think, because I've been a title attorney for a very long time in closings and mortgages and whatnot, in the mortgage itself, it does state that if the property is not insured, then they have the right to do forced placed insurance. In your declaration or the statute, does it say that's forced placed insurance? Okay, so the issue comes to me is, okay, we need to sit down with the insurance agent and see how much can we do if we're gonna insure the interior portion of somebody else's unit. Can the association purchase insurance for the interior portion of somebody's unit in the name of the association? I
No.
don't think so.
No, I've looked into that and we
Right.
cannot do it.
Exactly.
We cannot do it. Number one,
Mhm.
because it's a way of getting around that, the abolishment of the statute,
Right,
if it
Right.
was abolished.
Right.
And number two, because insurance companies do not want to pay twice, or
Right.
do not want to be responsible for the same casualty
Mhm.
under two different policies,
Mhm.
which we'll be responsible for. So
Right.
that's not possible.
right.
I've looked
So
into
then
that.
so now we can't place the insurance in the unit. We can't buy the HO6 on behalf of this owner and then charge the unit for it. So the only alternative you have to force them is to do an action in court. There's no other way the judge has to force them, and there has to be an order where it says, so-and-so, you need to get the HO6 policy, because if you don't, it's gonna affect other owners in the community, and it's against the declaration. There's no other way, and you're right, Amaury, the judge is the only one that's gonna say, yes, owner, you have to pay the attorney's fees and all court costs. And then, even when you get that, you don't know for sure if that owner's gonna pay it.
I'm
Because,
sorry,
you know?
so you said so, I got confused.
Mhm.
So, in that notice that we just approved, let's send the notice, let's have an agent, let's have an event and say we're gonna help you, just like when we're gonna get cable TV
Right.
and internet. If still after all that, they don't do it, we cannot get the insurance for them and put them in their bill?
You won't be able to buy the
We
insurance
cannot.
for that that unit, the inside. So then the only alternative you had is to try to get a judge to force them. You get an injunction to force
No,
them
but
to do that.
can we put an
But-
insurance
but
that is
here's-
not, I'm sorry, that is
Yeah.
not for inside their unit, but is for anything that they damage from the neighbors?
That would be the inside of the unit.
That's the inside
No.
of the unit.
The
That-
the insurance that we can
Instead
get
of
is for
the
damage to
But-
our common elements.
But
Our
here's,
we can
Not
get
for-
that?
Not for them. That we can get, yes.
so
Well, then
here's
why don't we get
here's
that?
from my experience.
That's something that we're looking
Here's-
into.
Right.
And I have asked the insurance agent to give us a quote for that.
Right.
And to give us options about different deductibles that they may have.
Right.
But he hasn't done it yet. But let me ask you something else. So, now we go through this process and we have a judgment from the court. And we have the magic words, for which led execution issue. But then you have to enter into collection proceedings.
Correct.
And then you have to go into discovery, and what
Right.
property does this person have, what assets?
You're
And
absolutely right.
that's more money that we
But
spend.
here's the way I
So,
look at it.
let me finish.
Okay.
So, here is something else that has occurred to me. And that was a question that I also made in an email to you. Can an association impose a special assessment only on a class of owners, as opposed to all the owners in the building?
Mhm.
In this case, the owners who do not have insurance.
Why they're gonna pay that?
Well, first thing, to impose a special assessment, yes, you can, but there has to be a description, what is the special assessment for? Because if you're gonna do a special assessment to purchase their insurance, you can't purchase their insurance. So it's like there has to be a purpose and description as to what the special assessment's for. But if the special assessment does involve a particular unit that caused damage or harm or a money value onto the association, yes, that assessment can be assessed to that unit alone, okay? But you can't special assess to buy insurance that you're not allowed to buy to begin with. But here's what I was wanting to say. With all these cases right now, and what you're gonna do with the violation notices, you're gonna educate, you might not have to do that process. Everybody might cooperate. And that one or two owners, I really think it's only gonna be one or two owners that really ignore it, or maybe they're out of the country and they didn't get the notice and you had to go that step, I don't see how they're not gonna comply. I don't, because
Well, I hope
it's a
not,
little
but
money value.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I have a different,
Okay.
I have a different impression, but let me finish. But, here, I don't think describing what the purpose is for the special assessment is a problem. We can
Okay.
easily describe it,
Okay,
right? And we can also get insurance that is not duplicate. Because there is this other type of insurance for water damage
Okay.
only
okay,
in the common elements, which is the issue that we have.
okay, I
When something
understand.
happens outside, inside a unit, then it goes into the outside, to
Okay.
the common areas, and we end up having to pay for it.
Right,
So my idea, which I am now exploring, is can we have a special assessment against those unit owners that fail to get the insurance and bill them for that insurance that we can get,
to
which
cover
is for
those
the
kinds
common
of
areas.
damages.
Yes,
Okay.
So not covering
So
the
that-
units.
not covering their
covering the
units,
units,
covering
that
the
doesn't
common
cover the
areas.
buildings. We're damaged by the water
Damage to the common areas,
Right. That's different.
not their units, and that's insurance that we can get.
No, because if they, the special assessment, we have more
You can lean.
legal.
I don't think we can do a special assessment on that basis, that's. a
Well, that's
big-
my question, and she's the lawyer,
I mean,
she's the
here's
expert.
the thing, the insurance coverage that you're talking about is you're saying, okay, I'm gonna have to get this added insurance to cover because so-and-so owners didn't get the HO6. That's what you're
Yeah.
saying, right?
Right.
But it's still not gonna cover if unit above water comes below and it damaged the furniture,
No,
their
we don't care,
tile,
we don't care about that.
nothing.
No, we don't care
But
about that.
doesn't your policy already cover for the drywall and the sheetrock and the water that intrudes into the common areas? Because it should. It should already cover that. For that intrusion.
Charge the people responsible.
No, no, but
by special
either way, there should be coverage for the drywall and damage that comes on the common areas. Now, if there was, because I'm not an insurance expert, if there was an additional charge or an additional coverage as a result of this person not having his HO6 policy, and there's a direct connection, then yes, I believe that we could do that special assessment
Okay.
on that person.
Well, the direct
You know, but I
connection
need
is
to
that-
see that with the insurance agent, just be clear, like, okay, this is a direct relation, I had to pay this much more thousands of dollars because such and such owners didn't get their coverage accordingly. Then I would say yes.
Okay, well, this is something else, this is not something that will come after the fact, this is something that comes to prevent having to file claims against the insurance that all of us pay, so that we unfairly are charged for the acts or omissions of a minority, or in this case, a majority of them.
Right. I guess,
A minority of us are being prejudiced by that majority which refuses, or for whatever reasons, does not have insurance.
Right.
So that our insurance rates are raised as a consequence.
Maybe, maybe we have this conversation after the meeting or offline, but
Well,
Yeah.
I
so she
think,
could better answer the question, maybe we can meet with Brown and Brown and get all the information for Dania as far as this other policy that I'm already speaking about, because maybe she.
it's a rider, yeah, it's not far-fetched, and, you know, whether or not you can special assess for a contingency account or for a rider specifically, you know, I think has more teeth in it than the fining, which you may or may not collect, right?
Exactly.
Because a
That's
special
my point.
assessment is where you
That's
lien the
my point.
property.
The special
That's where we
assessment-
wanna go with this.
Yeah, exactly,
So
that's my point.
That's the option. Okay.
Right.
All right, well, I think we are,
Open forum?
gonna skip a couple of items because we don't have the information on one of them. We talked about the other two, which brings us to open forum.
Two quick questions. Your survey monkey survey, I didn't understand, we paint the parking things different colors?
The curbing, you saw how we painted the curbs yellow?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Right out back, I'll show you, right out back, exiting through Bay Road, you'll see that we painted them yellow. So the question was, we give different options, yellow, black, white, or gray, and we'll see what feedback we receive. We gave the owners until Friday to respond.
Okay, and the other question, did you get a response to the plumbing survey?
Yes.
Yes, but the pricing, I was supposed to receive it by today, I haven't checked my email since I left the office. But, by, hopefully tomorrow I'll have the answer.
How many people
As far as-
applied in the affirmative?
35,
Out of,
35 unit owners,
out of how many?
which ones were, most of them needed, things done.
Yeah.
I can't give you the specific number, but
Okay.
35 so far have confirmed that they want work done.
So
Plumbing work, the
this was
reval
a
itself.
great exercise in getting into someone's home, right? Ideally with a plumber that's licensed and insured and knows what he's doing, and figuring out what is causing all these problems, right? This has never been done in the past. So we're trying to be a little more proactive here. And maybe even, get a discount, whereas if you did it individually, it'd be cost prohibitive. And maybe even, find a way to figure out a subsidy for that, where if we had to get it done, maybe that offsets our insurance premium and gets a discount, So this exercise has led us to this company that has gone through all the units, and we sent out notifications, and 35 people want to move forward with this, which is great. I think that's huge. So, kudos to Jordana and the team getting this to where it is right now, and getting the pricing back and following through is hopefully why we get reelected.
I thought it was a great idea.
Thank you.
Really happy.
Well, remember that on election day.
You're in my hearts and minds at all times. What can I tell you?
Good job.
Thank you.
We have, 4 or 5 different sorts of plumbing connections in each apartment, and then we've got our main valves for the lines, and a lot of those things have never been changed since the start, the building was built. So now the reason why, this is what I think, and I've had the most floods from anyone.
That's right.
In a year and a half, I've had 5 floods because I'm on the ground floor, which means I'm affected by 72 apartments. 72? No, 36 apartments.
From
36
both lines, so
apartments,
that's always
3 lines, and I'm on the bottom. So I've had the most, and I've looked into it, and I think the reason why we're getting so many problems is because we're into 20 years of the same valves. So we're getting, valves that are breaking, the same
heaters.
valves that are breaking within the same day.
And the heaters.
And the
Or
heaters.
originals, a lot of originals.
Yeah, there's a lot of original heaters.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have more and more problems if we don't enforce something.
Absolutely.
More and more. It's just gonna get more rapid up on us
Yeah.
as well.
Well, one of the other things we were looking into getting are water sensors, right? And for example, my unit, I have a little floating device, 50 cents, literally, that connects with a line to shut off the AC if the drain line backs
Yeah, I
up.
have that as well.
It should be mandatory,
Yeah, it should be mandatory.
and I'm happy to pay for it, personally,
Yeah.
honestly, because I think that is a no-brainer. It is very simple to put in, and that is kind of where we're going with this, right? So, even a pan around, the water heaters, right? If it's a minor leak, you can catch that,
Yeah.
But some people, they break, they're old, and they don't even have a pan around it. So, there's simple little cost-effective ways to kind of mitigate some of this, and then obviously going all the way through and replacing it.
We need to change some of the main
Yeah, they need
line
a couple.
valves as well that are 20 years old. Anything that is 20 years old is gonna break now.
You're referring to the
Next
units
years.
themselves, right? The main valve to
The
shut off.
line valves, which
The
control
risers?
the whole line.
The risers?
Is that what they're called?
You mean the cutoff inside the unit?
Cut off inside the unit or for the entire line?
The entire line, they're old too.
She's
Yeah.
talking about the
Plumbing
one
the
by
other
the
night when we
AC.
had
The ones
latest-
right on the lobby.
When we
No,
had
no,
the
by the
latest
air
flood, the
conditioning.
line valve broke.
She's talking about the line, the whole line.
So he tried to switch off, so basically, one of the apartments had a valve break, we all know about that
Right.
one. That's the latest flood that we've had, and the plumber came in the middle of the night, and he tried to switch off the line valve, what are they called?
The main valve in the unit,
The
they
main
tried
valve-
to turn
No,
it
Yeah,
off,
the
on the
main
line.
valve of the whole line.
the riser, but they had
Riser.
turned off the wrong line.
Yeah, but something broke in there, and that caused some other problems.
I'm not aware of that. I just know they had turned off
That's what
the
they told
lines
us
one
that
and,
night when we were
they
all
turned
up
off the
in the
lines
night.
1 and 2 instead of, they thought it was the floor 1 and 2, not the line, so they shut off the wrong line.
And they said they
That's what
couldn't
I'm
get
aware.
one of the lines shut, that they wanted to get shut because the valve wasn't working properly.
I'm not aware.
Okay, so
So
on,
there's
on that,
risers that are damaged as
But I'll
well.
have the plumbers check the main valves for the risers on all lines, all 9 lines.
And they were good?
yeah.
I will have
No,
them
we'll
check.
double check that.
They've looked at them, they
Yeah.
haven't brought it up to my attention,
Because
but
I was up all night that night and so were the other residents on the.
No, that's unusual.
Plumbers were saying.
It's unusual only because we've turned on the water plenty of times on and off,
Mhm.
you know,
Maybe
for,
he just couldn't do it.
or, I think we think it's a plumber issue, yeah, but, I think that there's so many different eyes and ears that have worked on these lines that it pays to include that in an annual inspection, so.
I think so.
I'm with you.
Are there plans to do other utilities as well, like either heating, air conditioning, whatever? Is plumbing just one example that we're doing, or are you thinking about other kinds of things as well?
Well, I think we've identified through the inspection, we identify what we think are the issues, and
As far as-
some of those are actual water heaters.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
so, I don't know if we
There are
did.
some original ACs up there on the roof,
Yeah,
very old ACs, so we can do that next.
well, I'm just
And
throwing
inform the
this out, I mean,
residents.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
We could do an AC inspection as well.
Yeah, I think that's next, all right,
We could do that.
Yeah.
I'll put that down
Just a
on our
suggestion.
to-do.
yeah. But
And
de-
that
but
our maintenance
definitely-
person could
But
do,
definitely have the
anyone could do.
floater switch included,
The
even if it's
AC,
the
right?
old one, and the drain line, the floater switch,
You said it's 50 cents?
it's minimal. The part is nothing, it's
But
the
that's
labor.
only if the AC is leaking, or the water
No,
heater,
it's
sorry, the
every-
water heater. is
Every
leaking.
AC has a drain line. That PVC drain line backs up because the lint gets caught in there.
Mhm.
And people, the old fashioned way is, you drop a little Clorox in there and it cleans it out, or you get a hanger and you clear it out.
And that will
But-
shut off.
But, so if you have a cutoff, yeah, somebody invented this and it's brilliant. It's a little line, it's a floater, so that if the water backs up, it cuts off, and that sends a
It's
signal.
like the float in the toilet, actually. Similar to the float. in the
Yeah,
toilet.
but there's a line
Should
that
be the
it
one
cuts
in your
off the
unit,
power.
or
When the
heater.
water
Yeah.
gets to a
Sure.
certain
Sure.
level, it shuts it off.
I
Yeah.
wonder if it's the same one,
Mine
but
mine
I'll.
one's a bit fancier
Yeah.
than a little.
Yeah.
She has a fancy one, Mark.
Yeah, dumb.
And I have a pan under the AC.
I believe you've showed it to me
Ground
before.
floor, I don't even need all that, but I've got it.
Okay, well, good. Anything else, guys?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you for
Toilet
coming.
systems. So the other thing that we have with water leaks, the problem that we have is other people's toilet systems not working properly, and the tiny $6 little hose that goes from the toilet,
Flapper?
yeah,
No,
not the
no.
flapper, but the
Which
thing
one?
underneath the
Yeah.
toilet, which is a tiny hose.
Yeah.
have to
Those
call it
are 20 years old as well, most of them, so people have to change them. So
You
those-
saw in the report.
And out of my
There's a list
five
of things.
Yeah.
floods, I'll say that
How do you
again,
call that?
5, 2 were toilet, those $6 lines that you.
How do you call that meter line?
I had it on the report, it says it's for the toilets, they check the flappers and I don't know if they're referring to the valves
Yeah,
also.
I don't think they
The
check
toilets have
the
valves as well, I don't know which line it is.
And we wanna get your company to look at the samples.
Yeah, because we're getting proposals.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn, guys, at 7:45. Thank you very much. Okay, second, in favor, okay, all?
A plumbing, I've heard of them.